The mystery surrounding the stolen DeLorean left Joe Tate furious in today's episode of Emmerdale. At the beginning of the show, the notorious Tate was seen cruising the iconic car, famously known from the Back to the Future movies, along a rural road before entering the village. Joe had purchased the vehicle as a special surprise for Dawn Taylor's son, Lucas. Earlier that week, the pair had watched one of the Back to the Future films together, and Joe mentioned that it's his all-time favourite series. He pulled up outside the shop, quickly attracting a crowd of curious villagers. Dingle eagerly took several photos beside the car, while Cami Hadik began viewing Manpreet Sharma differently after she impressed everyone with her detailed knowledge about the vehicle. Cain Dingle and Sarah Sugden happened to stroll past, and were far from pleased when they discovered Joe had added yet another luxury car to his collection. It didn't take long for them to see it as the ideal chance to get back at him. After proudly bragging to Dawn and Billy Fletcher, Joe led them outside the pub to admire the car, only to be stunned when he realized it had vanished. Unbeknown to him, Cain and Sarah had parked it near where they were sitting on the edge of a field, delighted with their successful theft. With the tension surrounding Butler's farm and Joe's attempts to seize control of it, he immediately suspected Cain was responsible for the disappearance. Standing outside a barn, Joe was convinced the car was hidden behind its doors, though he understood Cain wouldn't simply open them and hand it over. He rejected Cain's proposal of paying £200 to retrieve the vehicle and chose to walk away instead. Later in the pub, Joe became increasingly irritated as Cain openly mocked him about the missing car. Unwilling to back down, Joe informed Graham Foster that their top objective now was to make Cain's life miserable by whatever means necessary. The poor man already has plenty on his plate, but can Cain cope with taking on Joe as well? Emmerdale actress addresses Laurel's funeral conflict in intense new plot. She was in love with someone she believed he was. Charlotte Bellamy from Emmerdale has spoken about Laurel Thomas's upcoming emotional storyline, which begins with the funeral of Ray Walters. Laurel had been romantically involved with Ray before it was revealed that he was secretly dealing drugs, grooming April Windsor, and keeping Beowulf imprisoned. Laurel only discovered the truth about Ray on January 2nd, shortly before Bear killed him. In forthcoming episodes, Laurel struggles with mixed emotions when she realizes Ray will be laid to rest without anyone attending his funeral, prompting her to decide that she should be there. Discussing Laurel's emotional turmoil, Bellamy explained, "Although she knows he was a monster, she fell in love with the man she thought he was. That's where the conflict lies." Because Ray never exposed his darker side to Laurel, Bellamy feels viewers will sympathize with her inner struggle. "I believe the audience will understand why Laurel still has feelings for him, particularly deep down," she added. When asked what motivates Laurel to attend the funeral, Bellamy responded, "It's about closure. She needs to see it through to the end." She wants to say goodbye to the version of Ray she knew, and given her history with Ashley, it also connects strongly to her faith. Bear will also be present at Ray's funeral, as he continues to wrestle with his emotions after killing Ray while trying to protect Paddy and Dylan. Describing Bear's state of mind, Bellamy said, "Bear's emotions towards Ray are somewhat like Stockholm Syndrome. They're tangled up with pain, but Laurel loved Ray, and Bear had a strange kind of affection for him too." She continued, "Laurel feels that Bear needs closure just as much." However, Laurel's choice to attend the funeral creates deeper tension with her son Arthur, who cannot forgive her for allowing Ray into their lives. Reflecting on how the relationship damaged Laurel's bond with Arthur, Bellamy shared, "She feels awful that she welcomed this man into her home so quickly and trusted him without realizing how dangerous he truly was. She feels guilty, like she's been a terrible parent, and Arthur, in turn, thinks he should have realized something was wrong and wants to protect her. That sets them off on a new and difficult path together. Being a teenager is challenging enough as it is." Upcoming spoilers also reveal that the storyline takes a disturbing twist next week, when Arthur reacts violently to Laurel's decision to attend the funeral, leaving her hospitalized. Whether Laurel can ever mend her fractured relationship with Arthur remains uncertain, especially as Ray's shadow continues to haunt them both. Aaron becomes Bear's lifeline in Emmerdale as he opens up about his own abuse. In Emmerdale, several villagers are doing their best to help Bear Wolf as he battles the trauma caused by Ray Walters and Celia Daniels, along with the overwhelming guilt he feels for killing Ray. Yet nothing has truly reached him so far. Bear's mental health has been left in ruins after months of manipulation, during which Ray exploited his vulnerability, gaslit him, and drugged him into thinking everything was for his own good. Bear failed to grasp the harsh truth. He and others were effectively being used as modern-day slaves, forced to provide cheap labor on Celia's farm. Even when his friend Anya died from untreated injuries and Bear had to bury her himself, he still clung to the belief that Ray cared about him. So when Bear killed Ray in a heated moment after seeing him threaten Paddy, he couldn't process his actions. He was unable to suddenly accept that Ray was evil or deserved to die, nor could he cope with the crushing guilt of taking the life of a man he had almost regarded as a son. Paddy and others have attempted to support Bear, and in episodes following Ray's funeral, Laurel encourages him to confront his trauma and assures him she will stand by his side. But their efforts fall short. The funeral sends Bear into another downward spiral, and he becomes desperate for the painkillers Ray once supplied, convinced they are the only way to silence his racing thoughts and help him function. Relief finally comes from someone who understands trauma all too well. Aaron Dingle finds Bear, takes him home, and begins sharing his own painful history of abuse. As a child, Aaron was sexually abused by his father, Gordon Livesey. In 2016, he bravely revealed the truth to Robert and Chas in deeply emotional scenes. Determined to seek justice, Aaron stood up to Livesey, leading to his arrest, trial, and eventual conviction. That storyline not only left a lasting impact on viewers, but also fundamentally shaped Aaron's character. Just last year, he was forced to revisit his trauma when he realized Ruby Milligan had suffered similar abuse at the hands of her father. When Aaron later confronted Ruby's abuser and left him for dead, his rage was fueled by his own past suffering. By opening up to Bear, Aaron reaches him in a way no one else has managed. Bear begins to talk, while Aaron listens carefully and reminds him that he too is a survivor, and that he shouldn't blame himself for what happened. Although Bear insists Aaron doesn't know the full story, and therefore can't judge, he at least starts to consider a different perspective and takes Aaron's words to heart. With Aaron offering steady support, could this mark the beginning of Bear's healing journey? Emmerdale airs on weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is available to stream on ITVX.